Okay. So why set short? The first thing underneath that says distortion is protection. All right. Now I'm going to give props to our offensive coordinator, Andy Kolnick. He definitely wanted this in the presentation, but ultimately, as much distortion as we can create, the better the protection. I guess a lot of this stuff, setting short, kind of goes way back in the day, probably to play action pass, run action pass, where everybody still uses that right now, but then it kind of gets applied to drop back as well. But being able to have distortion when we do pass block people does create the protection. Okay. The first bullet point on here is time and space. And this was one thing that I talked to my guys about quite a bit, and they understand this. But everything that the defender needs to get to the football, whether it's a pass or a run, but we're talking pass here, and particularly probably drop back pass, but everything he needs is time and space. Those are the two things he needs, time and space. And those are the two things I do not want to give the defender. All right. And if I truly believe that, then I'm going to want to set short. I want to take away time and space as much as possible every time I am pass blocking. The other reason for me, and these are all my reasons, I guess, is I want to simplify. So this is the only way that we're going to pass set. This is the only way we're going to pass block, whether it's play action or a drop back or anything. This is how we're going to do it. I don't have to teach something different for every play. I'm probably not good enough to teach on this set, do this, on this set, do this. We're just going to set one way. This is how we're going to do it. And we're going to take care of business doing that. We obviously have to deal with a wider D end and a tighter D end. And there's some differences with that, but I truly believe this has simplified, I guess, what I teach and how I teach it. All right. The third bullet point on here, I must be moving toward a defender to block him. Good buddy of mine, Butch Berry, gave a talk, maybe one of the last times the Cool Clinic was live in Cincinnati. And just kind of talked about this quite a bit. And I didn't really understand it all that well during the talk, which is the case of most talks I listen to. I don't really understand them all that well right away. But going in and revisiting this over and over, whether I'm kick sliding backwards or I'm setting backwards, at some point, I think you may all agree. If you don't, that's fine too. But I'm probably going to have to work towards that defender to block him. Okay. So if I know I'm going to have to work towards him to block him, I might as well do it right away, in my mind. Okay. The fourth one, closing space right now. That goes back to time and space, but I'm going to close that space right now. First meaningful touch wins. I think we've all heard that quote. The one thing about, I mean, that might be a debatable quote too. I don't know. But I know that my guys like the idea of, okay, we're going to be proactive. I'm going to go touch this guy and I'm going to get the party started right now. Okay. So first meaningful touch winning is maybe more of a mindset for them. I'm going to get this thing started. I'm not going to wait on this guy. I also believe this, and this was something that I worried about a little bit when I started to set short or just creep on guys, is I'm worried that the guy's going to slant across my face and I'm not going to be able to react to that. But I also believe this too, that if I can put a hand on that defender and feel that pressure, I'm going to have a better chance, or I'm going to be able to redirect better or change direction with that defender if I have a hand on him and I can feel that pressure. So it's kind of like a sidebar to this. I think it actually helps us change direction with defenders once we get a hand on them quicker. And then ultimately, the bottom one there, maybe I'm just adding some bullet points, but I want to give the defender a different block to read. Okay. Anytime that defender sees you not coming at him, he knows it's a pass. Okay. If you're not working at that guy, he's going to start pass rush mode right now. I think we kind of make some guys have to figure it out a little bit before they get going. And it does show up. It probably showed up in a few of those other clips too. I think we got a shot of the center here. I like guys that can do this naturally. It's pretty helpful here, but just that simple hop right there at the end. All right. Keeps the best thing about hop drill or hopping itself is it keeps the base wide. And that's the number one fundamental we want to work at. You can even see the right guard kind of hop inside. So trying to hop to maintain the wide base and obviously anchor down at the same time.